And good morning, Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDU Talk Radio, Columbia High School. Jeff Stabenhagen joining us once again.
Good morning. Good morning.
Debate coach.
Amongst other things.
Speech coach.
Avid teacher. Middle school coach.
You know, and we've got the state champs with us of debate here.
We do.
But Avid is such an important program.
It is. I teach it at the 9th grade level. I wish every 9th grader were in this program because it's that critically important.
And for people that aren't familiar with it, it continues to grow throughout the state.
It is.
Can you give us well, you're a speech guy. You can describe it for us.
Sure. AVID is a college preparatory class. It gives students a chance to be set up for success, not just their first year in high school, but all 4 years in high school. So it allows them to learn about organizational strategies, time management skills, looking forward to like planning their high school career so that they're ready to go on after they graduate from high school. It's an amazing program.
Indeed, and it continues to grow throughout the Treasure Valley, which is great. And it's it's peer-to-peer learning, right?
It is. Part of the AVID program is allows students to learn from each other. So it's not all from the teacher. There's a lot of peer coaching. There's a lot of peer feedback. It's a great program. There are a lot of schools in the Valley that already are AVID schools, and there are more and more growing every day.
Indeed. So we've got the champs with us.
I do.
Can we introduce your team?
You bet. These are 3 of our 5 state debate champions. I have to my left senior Benjamin Smolden.
Is that for people keeping score at home?
Exactly. If they're on paper and they'd like to sketch out where we're sitting, which is extremely important for the visual learners out in your audience. Sorry, Kevin. We should be on television. We should be on television.
Exactly.
I know. And then to his left, or your viewers' right, would be junior Casey Moulton, and to my right, standing and soon to take my seat, is junior Avery Thiel. So these are 3 of the 5 middle school state champions in debate.
Boy, that is great. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm proud of them. They worked really hard.
And may I start with you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you chose to go into the debate team.
Well, I feel like I've been asked this question 2 times before, but I'll answer it again. I do
Really?
every year.
Okay, well, fair enough. There we go.
I picked debate because I like to be involved critically, and I think there's an important value that comes with debate, being able to argue an opinion that you don't necessarily fall in line with, and being able to form strong opinions about topics that oftentimes as students we're told just worry about it later.
Right.
And so it's important for us to start making our own political and social opinions young, and debate presents us with these opportunities to make those choices.
Who gets the last word at home?
Well, the truth?
Well, you could take the 5th if you'd like, but yeah.
I'll say my mother.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll get back to you in a minute. Sir, what about you?
So my name's Benjamin Smolden, and I joined my sophomore year, actually, to the speech and debate team. So the reason why I joined was because I would see the speech competitors give their speeches out to different classes, and I thought that I wanted to be a part of this team community and aspects like that. And also like how Casey explained with the debate topics, we need to learn how to debate each side, and it just teaches me important life skills, and that's why I joined.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the most unique topic you've ever had?
So the most unique topic was actually my first debate topic. It was all about the Internet of Things and the benefits of them.
Right.
And whether or not it's regrettable or not.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, what about you?
My name's Avery. I joined debate because it seemed like a family, and it really is. Like, on our team and on other teams, it's just one of those things where you're friends with everyone, but as soon as you step into a round, like, they're immediately people that you can have those critical conversations with, like Casey was talking about, and people that you can really make an impact with. Because the beautiful thing about debate is that you learn so much.
You're saying debate is beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, look, I see those people on TV yelling at each other all the time. Is that what you guys do?
No, definitely not. Debate is far more civilized in high school, at least. That's one of my favorite parts about it, is that it's so important and so, like, there's so much magnitude behind it that we learn so much from being respectful to each other and really having a good time while we're in those rounds.
Now, when we take a look at debate and such, a lot of people say that you people, your generation, all you do is the texting. Tell us a little bit about the power of the spoken word.
I think it's less about being able to speak well and more about being able to communicate over any medium clearly, because we look at a lot of social and political change that's being pushed right now, and a lot of it is through student-led organizations. And it's through being able to understand that first, your voice has an outlet, and second, there's one that's there for you, is how we're able to actually get to anything in the end. So it's less about the power of the spoken word and more about being able to communicate over any kind of medium.
Now, wait a minute. You didn't, we want to emphasize the spoken word.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't follow the script. What about you, sir? Your thoughts on the spoken word and, building on the point that there are so many platforms to be heard on these days.
So in this current generation, we do have tons of access to social media, and older generations may think we just use that form of communication all the time, but I think
we would never judge your generation.
Yeah. It's important to recognize that we can actually use both of them to get our message and get our words across. Like Casey stated, there's so many powerful movements started by the youth of the generations, and we use social media to project them. And then we also have like on site where we use our voices and we get our words out and we make sure our message does get heard.
Why is it so important to get both sides of the issue?
I think the key part about debate is that we do get to learn both sides of the issue. And so if you go into a round with like a preconceived notion and you're sitting there and you're listening to what other people are saying and you're listening to their evidence and how it makes sense and how they build their case, you're really allowed to change your opinion. So like there's a lot of opportunity for you to learn and grow throughout debate. It's not just one-sided. Because you may go around thinking one thing and come out thinking a completely opposite thing. And that's one of my favorite parts about debate, is because it really allows for that education. And among a nation where like young voters are so important when it comes to different movements, that kind of thing is really, really critical in making sure that people know what they're talking about, because the more educated you are, the better vote you can make, the more educated vote you can make. So it's really important that kids are able to see both sides of the issue, and debate allows you to do that in more ways than one.
Sure. Finally, your thoughts on the future.
If I'm being really honest, the future scares me a lot, partly because I'm expected to make a lot of choices in the next year that I have absolutely no idea like what direction I want to go in. But at the same time, I'm left with a lot of hope, because I am learning right now skills that are considered to be like incredibly valuable in the workforce. Like people like to hire people who can speak, and they like to hire people who aren't afraid to be a dissenting opinion. And so like outside of just like the local level, when we look towards the future, I'm excited to see where we go from here. Because if we're already pushing for change and we're pushing for action right now, what's it going to look like when we are the next generation of representatives and lobbyists and lawmakers? It's going to be really entertaining to see based on like where we are right now.
Great. And you, sir?
I'm very optimistic about the future. It being my senior year, a lot of things are changing in my life. I'm going to college. I'm having lasts and new firsts of things. So I'm very optimistic, and I'm eager to see what happens in the future. I wish I can say what I knew would be like, but I don't. So many things are changing rapidly, and it's just so hard to predict what will happen. So I'm very optimistic and eager for what happens.
Sure.
I'm terrified for like the outcomes of the future, but I know that this foundation that I've built throughout high school, throughout my 3 years on the team, I have those skills that can make an impact, and I have those skills that can get me through college and get me wherever I need to go, because I know how to speak and because I know how to communicate. And it's really important to me to continue to do that kind of thing, because like this year is the year that I turn 18, and this year is the year that I get to start voting. And so having that foundation and really knowing how to educate myself and how to be a part of a bigger movement and have my voice matter is super, super important. And so it makes me really excited for the future at the same time as being terrified, because I know that I can use the foundation that I've built for success.
Well, we thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Phone numbers here, and good luck in the future. I'm looking forward to all of you here. We'll just hand that to the young man here, Dylan, but I'm looking forward to all of you becoming adults and paying taxes to pay for me. So, and yes, and Jeff, thank you very much. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller in the morning from Columbia High School. Thanks to our friends at CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru. If you're just waking up, a tragic shooting in New Zealand.
New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern saying it seems the attacks were well planned. She says of suspects,
these are people who I would describe as having extremist views that have absolutely no place in New Zealand and in fact have no place in the world.
One man has been arrested and charged with murder. In a claim of responsibility, a man calling himself a white racist says he wanted to target invaders. Simon Owen, Fox News.
There we have it, a terrible tragedy in New Zealand. 49 people killed, I believe, and the injuries keep going. Phone numbers here, 580-5436. 580-KIDO, Kevin Miller in the morning. And if you're tuning in for the first time or you've been listening and this is your first time hearing us from a school, we do this 20 times a year thanks to CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru. We've been doing this since 2011, promoting our school, securing our future, where we highlight the good news about education. And we're in an actual school, Columbia, here in Nampa, where we've got the kids getting ready to go to class. You'll hear the bell ring. You'll hear the announcements. And, of course, we'll continue on talking to teachers and students and so much. Boy, that debate team, every year they come back and they always impress. And one of the reasons why we do this is so many times we hear the negative stuff. And people will say, well, Kevin Miller, talk radio is negative. What about the good news? And everybody is impacted with our education. Everybody benefits by kids getting a better education. And if we just read the headlines or see believe what we see on television, you'd have a very negative opinion formulated about area schools. Well, that's why we go and we actually talk to the kids and the teachers and find out what's really going on. There's a lot of good news, and we sure want to make sure that we highlight it here in the Treasure Valley. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Early on, the big topic has been this vote by the Senate, 12 Republicans, a total of 59 senators endorsing the, I guess what you'd call it, the Mr. Trump, you're a bad Mr. Trump for this national emergency resolution. We don't believe in it, and the president says he's going to veto it. Now, there are not 67 votes to override this veto, so why would you vote against it? We've had people speculating that possibly Mitt Romney could, in fact, be running for president. We don't know about that. How about this? We've got Mike Emanuel from Fox News here on KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, with the details. Let's hear from Mike.
12 Republicans voted with Democrats to reject President Trump's declaration of a national emergency at the southern border. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell stood in support of the president on the Senate floor.
Just the facts of the matter. And the facts are not at all ambiguous. There's a clear border security and humanitarian crisis on the southern border.
Senate Democratic Leader Chuck Schumer ripped Republicans who supported the president on his declaration of a national emergency.
Because President Trump simply wants it, they say let's abandon those principles and vote to change fundamentally the way the balance of power works. Shame.
On Capitol Hill, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Your comments next. Do you agree with the folks in this resolution, and whose team are these folks on? Lane, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Join the conversation now. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to the phones. Pete in Mountain Home. Good morning, Pete.
Morning, Kevin. Sound like some really, really good folks there at that school.
Indeed.
I would like to point out the incredible hypocrisy of the Congress, especially the Democrats now that are yapping about the Constitution, and how awful it is that President Trump is trying to spend money that they should be able to say how money is spent. And I don't remember hearing any comments from these amazing Democrat constitutionalists when President Obama plopped, $150 billion in cash into Iran? I don't remember hearing any any little comments about that from them.
And Pete, let's go back to what Robert Spencer told us the other day, that from Carter to Bush, that money was the Shah's money, not the Iranians, and to sign that Iranian deal, Mr. Spencer told us he gave him those billions back.
Yeah.
And, that was against U.S. policy, number one. And number two, every president since Carter has declared national emergencies, and we haven't had these resolutions. And you have to wonder, what's the future of the Republican Party when you have Republicans not supporting their president? Whether you like the Democrats or not, they always stand firm.
Oh, yeah. I hope our two senators supported him. I didn't hear one way or the other on that.
Well, believe me, if they hadn't, you would have heard about it.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I emailed both of them a while back. And, if this isn't a crisis at the southern border, I don't know what is. You look at the drugs, the gangs bringing in the children that go immediately into sexual slavery, the murderers that cross the border several times, because California and the other states are giving them sanctuary. I don't know what you'd call it if you didn't call it a crisis. I call it an invasion myself.
Well, what do you make of this vote?
I think what you had is 12 Republican senators whose constituency is now inside the Washington Beltway, and they want to be invited to the parties, and they want to hang out with the in crowd at Washington, and this is virtue signaling on their part. Oh, look, we aren't going to let the president roll over us because Trump is a bad guy, and he doesn't have any class, and aren't we special? And it just, yeah, the Democrats, they all gather around Ilhan Omar, no matter what she says about Israel and the Jews. They don't let anybody dump on any, no matter how egregious the behavior is from a Democrat. They all support that Democrat. And the only thing the president is doing here is trying to ensure the sovereignty of the United States. If we don't have a border, then we aren't a nation anymore. We're just a collection of patsies for the entire world to come in here and live off of us.
Right. It's nice to, have that compassion in your hearts. You've just got to be able to afford it.
Yeah, if you want to see where we're going, take a look at Venezuela. There's a wonderful socialist state. And apparently that's what the Democrats want us to be, with them in charge, of course, because the people that are running the socialist states, they always live pretty high on the hog. You look at, Stalin and North Korea and China and Venezuela. I mean, Mr. Maduro isn't suffering.
Pete, thank you for the call and for listening to KIDO Talk Radio.
Thank you, Kevin, and keep up the good work with the schools.
Thank you, Pete. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Join the conversation now on this issue involving whether or not you believe the president should veto this. We know he's going to. I agree that he should. But what about Congress passing this resolution to begin with? Whose team are they on? Traffic and weather together, KIDO. Let's go to a story involving an Arkansas woman who's very thankful to be alive. Now, why is she thankful to be alive? Well, she credits God for making that happen, for giving her. Here's our own Kevin Battle with the latest on KIDO Talk Radio.
She thought she was in a war zone. A quiet evening this past weekend was interrupted by what she feared was a bomb or her TV blowing up. 70-year-old Constance Effie of Kansas City says it was the loudest noise she's ever heard. A bullet tearing through the siding of her home across the room she was sitting in before slamming into a picture that crashed to the floor. She says the bullet was stopped by an act of God. The picture that stopped the projectile? A framed copy of the Lord's Prayer. Kevin Battle, Fox News.
Something to be thankful for when we're taking a look at our own world. How many of us get involved with things, going to work, paying the bills, taking care of the kids, the grandkids, that sort of thing, and then all of a sudden something happens, maybe somebody gets sick, your animal gets sick, your kid gets sick, your spouse gets sick, and then all of a sudden we get into this world of doctors and lawyers and everything else. And what goes through our mind, boy, I remember how simple my life used to be. I remember how simple it was and how I was stressed out about absolutely nothing, right? That when I hear that story from Kevin Battle, that's what goes on in my mind, right? What to be thankful for, and we're sure thankful for you. Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Let's find out what's happening in your world. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin.
And joining us now, we've got Jacob and JC from the robotics team here at Columbia High School. Good morning.
Morning.
Need to get a little closer to the mic as we discuss. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about robotics. That sounds very exciting, sir.
Yeah, well, we are in an association called FIRST. Basically what we do is we have 6 weeks to build a robot, have it do whatever the FIRST tells us to do, the competition. We do mechanical, electrical programming, all that stuff to make sure that the robot drives in the competitions that we have. This year we went to Victoria, BC in Canada and competed there. It's pretty cool. So that's basically what we do for robotics.
Sure. Why the interest in robots?
I think my interest in robots came from, I started in middle school. I got into a robotics class, and we were working with Vex Robotics, which is kind of just a smaller kind of robot. And I really, really enjoyed building the robot and programming it and how we could make robots pretty much do whatever we really wanted it to do. So when I got into high school, I saw FIRST Robotics, and I saw the robot they had built the previous year, and I thought it was really insane how they could do something like that in just a short amount of time.
Can you describe the work for us? Most of us, again, not to be stereotypical, but it's science fiction, the robot. So could you give us, sir, how much work goes into this?
So we work 22 hours a week for the 6 weeks here at school, after school. So what I did this year was I was on the mechanical team. What we do is we cut out the parts, we weld them, bolt them together, make sure that they fit with the robot. I built a mechanism that picks up these little pieces on the field with a piston. And then electrical team, they make sure that they build a electrical box to be able to control all the pieces of the robot. We have an elevator that goes up and down to pick up certain pieces, and we have the claw that I built, different intake for balls on the field, and then the drivetrain, which drives the robot, which is the wheels, basically.
Sure. What about you, sir?
I'm on the programming team, so pretty much what we do is we make the entire program for the robot, so it'll talk to the electrical components, which will make everything drive. I also did quite a bit of electrical this year, helping with the electrical box, but the main thing I did towards the beginning of the year was 3D modeling all the pieces that we need. So the 3D model is kind of a test of concept, so they give me what they want to build. I'll 3D model it, and if they say it looks good, then they'll actually make it.
Can you tell us, based on what you guys are doing, what do you see for the future as far as robotics, artificial intelligence? Because you two scare me right now.
As far as robots go, we just do it for fun. I don't see them taking over the world anytime soon with AI and stuff, but AI definitely could be a thing in the future. But our robots are just for fun to test things out, but it definitely could be going somewhere in the future for jobs and other types of ways to make the future go more steadily for people, things like that.
I kind of agree with JC. I don't think that they'll be able to take over jobs from us, but I do know that they'll be a big part in future jobs, and that robots can do a lot of stuff that maybe we can't, and we can create robots to do anything we want.
How do your parents react to the robots?
My parents personally think that it's really cool. They're really proud of the things that we do.
They're not scared of the robots?
No, they're not scared of the robots.
Okay, that's good. They're braver than I am, but yes, they think it's great.
Yeah.
And you?
They think it's a wonderful opportunity for me to get into, especially because this is the kind of field I want to go into when I get into the workforce.
And you're getting these skills right here at Columbia.
Yeah.
Boy, that is amazing. Okay, what type of field would you like to get into?
Some sort of mechanical engineering field somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, that just builds and designs other types of
robots.
Yeah,
Back
sure.
to robots. huh?
Yep.
And you, sir?
I want to do some type of software engineer or computer science
Sure.
type of job.
How has Columbia prepared you guys for this?
Well, working not only in STEM but in robotics too, it has been a big learning experience to figure out all the different things there is for mechanical engineering and what kind of struggles you go through and how to work under pressure. All those kind of things are involved.
I have to agree with him. STEM is a big part in learning how technology and engineering and math, all that can play a future role in our lives. And Columbia also offers a multitude of classes that really help me prepare for what I want to be when I get older.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Outstanding job.
Thank you.
All right. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We want to thank our friends at Cap-Ed Credit Union, T. Mazda Subaru, as well as the entire team here at Columbia High School. It is amazing because some of our top stories that we are talking about, the college admission scandal continues. It's the latest aftermath. A federal class action lawsuit is the latest aftermath of the college admission scam involving famous, infamous people that have a lot of money. Here's Molly Line with the details on KIDO Talk Radio.
The plaintiffs, all students and parents, argue in the suit that qualified college hopefuls paid admission fees while unaware that, quote, unqualified students were slipping in through the back door of the admissions process by committing fraud, bribery, cheating, and dishonesty. Prosecutors say the institutions involved were unaware that wealthy parents were paying sometimes enormous bribes, funneled by ringleader William Rick Singer to get their kids into the schools via cheating on admission tests or secret deals with coaches. But the suit argues the universities were negligent and failed to guarantee the sanctity of the college admissions process. In Boston, Molly Line, Fox News.
There we have it. So now you're going to have federal lawsuits from parents whose kids did not get in to the school of their choice. Now, I love documentary films. And whether it's, well, I would say former Promote Our Schools, Secure Our Future young man by the name of Jacob, or our current incarnation, we've got Jake, we've got Dylan, Dylan says he's a filmmaker. We'll find out about that. But I would love to see a documentary involving students trying to get into those elite schools. Could you imagine, and look, whether it's Columbia, whether it's Nampa, whether it's other schools, we've had kids in Treasure Valley high schools, public schools, charter schools, home schools, go to these elite universities. But I think it would be a fascinating documentary on how these kids get in and just what it takes when you're thinking about not only do you have to have great grades, you have to be part of a wonderful community, you have to do community service, sports. I wonder what the criteria is. And think about this. And then you've got this lawsuit where people are saying, look, my kid didn't get in because we didn't have the big money. Whether that's true or not, it is something that we should look at. Also, the FBI jumping into this, is this something worthwhile of the Federal Bureau of Investigation?
Between roughly 2011 and 2018, wealthy parents paid Singer about $25 million in total to guarantee their children's admission to elite schools, including Yale, Georgetown, Stanford, the University of Southern California, the University of Texas, UCLA, and Wake Forest.
Now, there you have it. I don't know. I from what I understand, Michigan is a great school academically. Texas, which is the state school of Texas, didn't hear about that. USC, UCLA, Wake Forest, some of these schools, you wonder why you would pay so much money. And how did they do it? Well, here is U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling telling us here on KIDO Talk Radio how the scams were orchestrated.
Numerous parents paid Singer between $15,000 and $75,000 to have someone either take the exam for their child or to correct their child's answers afterward.
Now, this is what I don't understand. Okay, little kid, you're my son, you're my daughter. We're going to get you into the school of your choice. And to get into the school of your choice, you've got to achieve the highest levels. But we're going to get you in, and then we're going to have somebody take the test for you. Well, how did I get in? Well, I thought I scored a such and such on my ACT or my SAT, but somehow I got in. How does that work? And when we take a look at public education at that level with those elite schools, how fair is the process?
Overall, today we have charged 3 people who organized these scams, 2 SAT or ACT exam administrators, 1 exam proctor, 1 college administrator, 9 coaches at elite schools, and 33 parents who paid enormous sums to guarantee their children's admission to certain schools through the use of bribes and fake academic and athletic credentials.
That is amazing. Senator Elizabeth Warren decided to comment on this.
To me, it's just one more example of how the rich and powerful know how to take care of their own, and everybody else just gets left behind. I think that's wrong.
So, Senator Warren making this a class issue. Your thoughts next, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We are here at Columbia High School promoting our schools, securing our future. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Joining us now from CapEd Credit Union, our great friend Todd Christensen. Once again, another season. Good morning.
Opportunity to be out here at Columbia High School. It's awesome to hear all the amazing things that are taking place here, from AVA to the debate team to the robotics. Just an incredible thing that's happening here in our public schools.
Those robotics kids,
they scare you a little bit,
do.
don't they?
Right.
They're going to take over your shock jock chair there.
Well, you remember growing up as a kid, I mean, robots were a thing of fantasy, and now you got middle school, you got high school kids creating robots.
And the activities that they're drawing into with the AI and the augmented reality and the aspects that are there, and the things that we see as we move into, looking at Boise State and the things that they're doing in the College of Innovation and Design. It's incredible what we have in our future.
Indeed. Let's talk a little about what's going on at CapEd.
Well, we were chatting a little bit before we came on air about our Get Give program. We see amazing programs here at the schools, whether that it's middle school, high school, or even elementary. And we as CapEd have always been a part of the education community and supporting the education community. We have a program that we want your listeners to be aware of, those who have listened to us a long time or those who may be dialing in for the first time this week. Is we have this program called Get Give. Get 100, Give 100. Come in, join CapEd, open up a high-yield checking account, which incidentally actually earns you 2.5% interest on your balances. It's a free checking account. And then meet its qualifications. You will receive $100 deposited into your checking account. And then at account opening, you can select the school district, school, and the program, all the way down to robotics or debate or FFA, whatever you want to support in your local school. We then direct those dollars directly to those programs. And we're sharing a little bit that over about the last 10 months, we've given out over $60,000 to
just 10 months.
Just in 10 months of individuals in the community choosing to join CapEd, support us in our journey, as we like to say, of making a difference. It's more than banking for us. It's making a difference. And in this case, $60,000 back to schools. But that also means that our members have received $60,000 that have been able to support them in their own households or their individual needs.
When we talk about households and individual needs, I told you a little bit about the Miller HVAC went out thanks to our friends at Diamond Heating and Cooling and their partnership with CapEd. You have so many partnerships, but I found the process quick, easy, but thorough. When CapEd gets behind something, they're very thorough, very diligent when it comes to making sure everything is good to go.
And that's our dedication. We refer to it internally and externally as member experience matters. And the reality is every member experience matters. And as you had the interaction with Diamond Heating, we have a partnership with them that we're the financing behind either planned project or those, I didn't know I needed to do that type
was
of project.
mine,
That
yeah.
was yours. Being able to work with our members, take them through the process. The product or the service that you receive from CapEd is inside of our EnergyWise program, and that's being able to provide funding and resources for either those planned projects, whether that be solar
Right.
or updating HVAC, or those moments of, oh, bugger, that just happened and I need to make a change to that, and we're there to support that.
That is such a great alternative when you think of the interest rates you're going to get at CapEd versus somebody else.
Well, and in the credit union space, and we've been operating in that space for 83 years, is really focused on the member. And we see that we're a great alternative. You'll oftentimes hear us say that we are a nonprofit financial cooperative, that it's a cooperative of people coming together, pooling their funds. You may refer to us as the original peer-to-peer lender, that people coming together, bringing their dollars together to help each other. And we're focused on helping each other rather than providing either a return to shareholders or stockholders, and a great alternative within our local communities.
Our great friend Todd Christensen joining us. Let's talk a little bit about this digital contest. I know you and I call it video, but this video contest for middle and high school kids coming up very soon.
Coming up very soon. We have spring break in a couple of weeks, and then after that is the submission deadline. This is our 9th annual video contest. And in this case, in the last 8 years, we've done it for high schools. This year, we have expanded it to the 7th and 8th grade and middle school, and having an opportunity for students to put together a 2 to 3 minute movie trailer or video. And then we take those, we narrow them down to probably about the top 25, top 30 for each class or each age group. And then we bring in area experts, the videographers from the local TV stations, those that are involved in the film industry. And then we're very fortunate to have a strong partnership with Overland Park Theater, where they allow us to come in for a whole afternoon or the need of time to put them up on the big screen, hear the sound, see how they play out on the big screen.
Middle and high school kids on the big screen.
Middle and high school students seeing their movies or their videos on the big screen, and then we narrow it down to the 15 or top 15 or so, and then we actually have a premiere, and that will take place on April 17th, again back at Overland Park Theater, starting around 5:30, and then we'll show the top 15, and then we'll award the top 5. And for the high school students, there's cash prizes of $500, $400, $300, $200, and $100, plus a year's license to Adobe Creative Cloud, which is another great value to be able to continue to support them in their creative journey.
Right, just another partnership up with our friends at CapEd. Todd Christensen joining us as we move along. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Todd, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing with Channel 7.
With Channel 7, great partners at Channel 7 at KTVB. We encourage people to tune in early in the week, tune in all the time, and in this case, either Monday or Tuesday in the morning news section. Doug Petcash and Bree go out, and much like we're here today, they go out and find the great stories that are taking place, and in this case, the innovative educators. And whether it be at the elementary school, the middle school, the high school, we're really wanting to highlight the good that's taking place in our education community. And there are many, 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 many great stories. So we'd encourage people to tune in to KTVB and view the innovative educator. You also can go and see our past news stories that we've had, ranging from helping out students in the aquaculture arena, the robotics area, how students are helping to support each other. For us at CapEd, we look to this program of promote our schools, secure our future. And with KTVB, it's an opportunity to highlight those innovative educators who are making the difference in the classroom day in and day out.
Indeed. And finally, for people just moving to the area?
We invite you to stop into one of our locations. We have 9 throughout the Treasure Valley, 1 down in the Magic Valley. We continue to grow, so you'll see additional locations as we take the opportunity to grow. But individuals are welcome to join CapEd. We started as 13 teachers back in 1936, teachers supporting teachers, and today we're now over 75,000 members supporting each other and supporting the education community. We make the statement that all are welcome to join us in our passion to supporting the education community and receiving excellent financial services as an individual or business.
Well, Todd, we appreciate you as always, sir.
Always great to be here with you.
Great to have another season, huh?
Another great season, absolutely.
Todd Christensen joining us here. Todd, again, thank you, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you, KIDO, for helping to highlight the great things that are taking place in our education community.
Traffic and weather together. And the president tweeting quite a storm. This should never happen to a president again. Coming up, more of your thoughts concerning this vote by Congress and the president's promised veto. That's one topic at 580-5436. 580-KIDO. In addition to that, we are talking about this, well, the fallout over the scam involving kids getting into colleges that they had no business getting into, and the comments of Senator Elizabeth Warren.
To me, it's just one more example of how the rich and powerful know how to take care of their own, and everybody else just gets left behind. I think that's wrong.
Are you shaking your head? Then I want to hear from you next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.